Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the protest that seems to be in, we, of course, as a political party, we know that PTI is talking about a final call of protest. What it means as far as their whole rhetoric of protests is concerned, is it going to achieve anything? We've also heard a lot being said about the party itself and the feelings within the party about another call of protest and what is being said as the final call of protests. Whether it's from, of course, the leadership as far as the leader of PTI, the founder of PTI is concerned, and how it's being taken by the party. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the ramifications overall of within the PTI, and the working of the party itself is another overhaul in the making, or are we going to be looking at more upheaval within the party also? As far as governance overall and talks with the government are concerned, is there any possibility of that? All of that today on Perspective. I have with me DANIYAL Sheikh, who's a political analyst. Thank you for being with us today. We also have ANIQ ZAFAR, who's a political analyst. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be joined by FAKHAR YOUSAFZAI a little later on, who's a senior journalist. Thank you for being with us. FAKHAR Saab, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Ji. Let me start with FAKHAR Saab and then I'll come back to the studio. FAKHAR Saab, this final call of protest which is being talked about, what is your feeling about this? Do you think, one, let's start with this, that it will pan out, or do you think that, closer to the day, it might turn out to be something, that's called off, or it's just something that's in the, it's part of the thought process at this time? Do you think it'll go ahead?
I think so. The PTI and the PTI leaders and their workers are calling it a final call for Imran Khan, and we will release him. Of course, we have listened from the Gandapur Saab, the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I think so. I have told this so many times. This is not a way which is PTI want to go for that, and they want to release their leader. If they are interested to release their leader, they should go to the courts, High Court, Supreme Court, and other way. I don't think so. This is a way that they will come to capture Islamabad, and they after every 1 or 2 weeks they will come here, and they will make the lives of the Islamabadian and the people of Rawalpindi miserable. This is not a way, I think so. If they are interested to protest, last week they were interested to for the Jalsa in Sawabi. Okay, it's fine. No issue for that. If they want their Jalsa in Islamabad as well, but only a Jalsa, not a protest that they will sit here in a D choke and they will come in 2 days and the motorways and all the roads will be blocked and the people of Islamabad will face all these things. Why? If they are interested to deliver, or if they are interested to protect their leader, or they want to release him, they first of all they should deliver. They should deliver to the people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They don't know that what we should deliver them and what we should do for them. Of course, there are, of course, more than 30 million population of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Why every week the Gandapur Saab is trying to come here in Islamabad? I'm from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. I think so. This is not a good thing for our province. They should deliver. We want jobs. We want security.
Based on performance rather than a politics of protest. Let me come back to you. I'm going to go to DANIYAL here. DANIYAL, you heard what FAKHAR Saab is saying. Do you agree with what he said? Because the fact that, is it true that there's also reports of their own people now tiring and getting tired of organizing these protests? That is what is being said. Do you think that there is that kind of despondency within the party also?
Well, definitely there is a senior element in the party, but as far as the Chief Minister is concerned, you can take the monkey out of the jungle, but you cannot take the jungle out of the monkey. See, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So PTI so many times before, they have besieged the capital for even days and weeks and months. But now they should realize that nothing comes out of it. Now this time, what battalions will they call upon? They have tried everything in the past and it hasn't worked. So as far, it's just going to be the same show. They're going to come, they're going to assemble, and then in a few hours they'll disperse. There's nothing different.
But are they losing, like you said, it's just going to be the same show. Do you think that they're losing their importance? They're losing, you know, their relevance by coming again and again like this?
In public, yes, but I personally feel that the CM is quite insecure about his own position, and to keep his job secure, he tries to put up shows like these. There's nothing more than a circus. Nothing's going to come out of it.
Do you think that's? Do you think it has to do with, you know, not so much the founder of PTI who's in jail at this time, ANIQ Sahab, and more with the CM of KP, as Daniyal is saying?
Well, obviously, CM KP is in a bind. He is in a situation where he cannot refuse the demand of the chairman or the former chairman of the party, former prime minister, who is right now imprisoned. And on the other hand, he has to run a province, and he has to, for running the province, he has to keep a working relationship going with other stakeholders of the state. Now, the situation is that Mr. Khan, the former prime minister, wants to sort of destroy everything, reset everything. He wants to bring lots of people here. They should sit in, and the government should fulfill his demands. This is a playback to 2014, when he had tried this tactic, and he had failed at that time as well. And I do not see a reason that why would he be successful at this time. Yeah. It was the same situation. There was a government in KP. Mr. Pti'S Khattak was chief minister at that time. Now Mr. Ali Amin Gandapur is chief minister. So this is the same kind of situation. But again, as a provincial government, how far he can go, right? He cannot overly commit provincial government's resources to this. He committed in the last 2 or 3 rallies and so-called marches on Islamabad or whatever. But I think now his resources are exhausted, and also the patience of other stakeholders of the state with that kind of these kind of antics has run thin. So,
but do you think it's time for a rethink as far as strategy is concerned?
I think that goes without saying, that they have been using this strategy again and again. You ask the question that what will they gain? So frankly, what they gain is media. What they gain by these tactics is that it keeps them alive in the media.
So you're saying it's really about
there is no other political logic for these kinds of actions. It keeps them alive in the media. We will be discussing it for the next 10 days. Every talk show, every channel will be talking about it, and Mr. Khan will be the center of the attention, that what is he going to do, what his leadership is going to do. For next 10 days, you are going to be discussing it, and that's what they achieve.
Fair enough. Let me go to ANIQ Sahab. From ANIQ Sahab to FAKHAR Sahab. FAKHAR Sahab, there is, you know, what ANIQ Sahab is saying is I think he's hit the nail on the head. He says, you know, it's really a game of relevance for the PTI as a political party. Do you agree with that? You think it's about relevance? It's about how, you know, they want to stay relevant within the system. But there are other ways of staying relevant, no? I mean, as far as their role within the parliament is concerned, their opposition within the parliament is concerned, or do you think that we are not, you know, as a parliamentary democracy, we are not developed as much for that to be, you know, a sustainable kind of relevance? How do you look at that?
Yeah, of course they should. I can say that they can play a role in a parliament, but unfortunately they are not doing that. Not in the federal government as well as in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They are not doing that actually. And yes, I agree with the ANIQ Sahab that they want their relevance and they want to present in their presence in media. But I think so. they also want to release their leader, their founder leader, Mr. Khan as well. But I think so.
Do you
There
think that's
are
because
so
of,
many groups in
do they not
Pakistan Tehreek
realize
Insaf, and
futility of that
there
as
are
a
so many
strategy?
people which is not interested to go for a protest in Islamabad. And Gandapur know about all these things. Mr. Gandapur Sahab know about these type of things, but I don't know why. If Mr. Khan is giving him order that Gandapur Sahab, you should come here in Islamabad, and might be possible the government will be pressurized. This is a pressure tactics. I know that, and we are all agree on this, that this is a pressure tactics. But I think so they are not gaining anything. Even they have a government in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but how many people, how many thousand or how many lakh people are coming from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa toward the Islamabad? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, maximum 10,000, not more than that. Why the people are not coming out from their home? Actually, they want something good from the PTI government. If they are electing them for the third term, for the third time in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa consecutively, of course they want something special from them. Not these type of things that every week that we will come here for a weekend in Islamabad, and on Sunday evening or on Monday morning we will go back to Peshawar. I think so. This is not working anymore. And Mr. Khan know it. Mr. Khan know it, but I think so. He want that we should pressurize the government from different tactics to mobilize the people from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Why the people are not coming from Lahore? Why the people are not coming from Multan? Why the people are not coming from Faisalabad? Why they are not coming here to Islamabad for? Of course, the PTI have a strong hold in Punjab as well. But those people are not coming. Every week they are bringing the people of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Because of them, the motorway block. The Islamabadi, the people of Islamabadian are facing so many hurdles, so many trouble because of those protests and those jalsas. But I think so they are not gaining anything, and they are also under pressure. I think so the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government, because there are so many other things, especially in the native city. Dai Khan is under threat. You know about that. The TTP is there, and there are so many incident of the terrorism. But I think so Gandapur Sahib is not talking about that. Why he's not talking about those incidents? He is only talking about that I will go to Islamabad and I will release my leader Imran Khan. I think so. The people of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa know all these tactics, and the rest of the country as well.
Right, fair enough. Daniel, there was, as far as politics of performance is concerned, we've been talking about this before also. Do you think it's as relevant? I mean, if you look at the province like KP, one has to agree that they have, I mean, as far as PTI's government is concerned, they've managed to get seats in KP. If it's about performance, as it should be, do you think our parties believe enough about it? For example, the PTI as a party, are they like, ANIQ Saab said before and FAKHAR Saab said, they're not really concentrating on performance so much.
Well,
so do they believe that it will matter in the end? Does it really matter as far as our political parties overall and their perception of things?
Well, if every 2 weeks the Chief Minister is busy planning an attack on the capital, it's obviously humanly not possible to focus on any long-term
because
policies.
there are a lot of issues. There are issues of governance, there are issues of law and order. There are a host of issues at this time.
Personally, I think that focusing on KP has never been a prerogative. Even when Imran Khan was outside, I remember when Pervez Khattak was Chief Minister, there was a documentary in that he was told about some child abuses going on in KPK very widely, and he's like, I didn't know about this, and now I'm going to do something. A year later he was interviewed again and nothing was done on it. Similarly, once they announced the mineral policy, but they didn't even do any homework or research. They didn't know that the mineral policy before was a part.
So why do they manage to get this? Have they managed in this instance, for example, to get the seats then? I mean, as far as performance is concerned, it's because they criticize other political parties about this as far as PTI is concerned.
Well, the whole politics that they're playing, even this protest is part of the same agenda. It's basically playing to the galleries and emotionally charging, patronizing the youth on a false agenda, which is not an agenda of prosperity. When the agenda is not of prosperity, how can there be any prosperity be seen in their governance? As far as like the one credit that they always used to take, that we changed the policing system in KPK. Well, the policing system in KPK, or the police itself in KPK, has always been very different, and there's a lot less political influence. There's always been a lot less influence compared to Punjab, whereas in Punjab they failed. If you remember in the start, they appointed the same retired Inspector General Nasir Durrani as the police chairman of the Police Reform Committee in Punjab, but 3 months later they had to remove him. So had they done something like that in Punjab as far as delivering in governance or changing, reforming the police, that would have been something commendable, but that did not happen. As far as this whole protest is concerned, the way I said earlier, this is basically just insanity. They're trying the same thing over and over again, which has not achieved anything in the past for them.
But obviously they believe, let me go to ANIQ Sahab. ANIQ Sahab, as far as legal challenges are concerned, we know that the courts are going to be, dealing with the legality of Khan Sahab's issues, whatever they are in court, and whatever happens out of court, no matter whatever amount of sit-ins we see, protests we see, where is the belief coming from that it's going to make a difference? It hasn't yet, and it doesn't look like it will.
I think it's more a move in desperation.
Okay.
They do understand that there are at least 2 to 3 cases where his conviction is almost granted, and that conviction, unlike past convictions, will also hold in the high courts and maybe in the Supreme Court as well. So they know that one case like Qadr Trust or Toshahana case, both have the potential to get him convicted, and he may be in for a few years inside the prison. So the current move is in desperation, and also we also know that there is another court martial going on of one retired general. That is also the outcome of that is also expected to be announced within a couple of weeks.
But we saw the PTI shying away from that issue.
But that shying away does not help, because if during the course of investigation and during the trial, if there is enough evidence gathered, and that evidence also implicates PTI's leadership, including Mr. Khan, then things could be really rough for them. So before that, they want to create a momentum. They want to create an impression on the stakeholders that if they really go for Khan Sahab's trial in the military or try to convict him, there can be bigger trouble in the country. Not that in the past they have not tried to be the rebel rouser and create chaos on the streets, but that chaos has not really sort of shaken the government.
So how is it going to shake things this time? What is the
I don't see that.
The government seems to be quite stable.
They are stable.
In terms of the amendment, we've seen it go through. In terms of the changes as far as the overall structure, we've seen whatever the parliament wanted has gone through overall.
Yeah, all legislation, all administrative steps have sailed through. So they at least at this moment, I do not see that how you can force the government into anything. You come here, even if 10,000 people sit in somewhere on Islamabad's roads, I mean, okay, fine, it may be a nuisance for me and you for a week or 10 days. It will be a huge nuisance for us, but what does the government lose?
The government,
do
you think that their people, first of all, PTI supporters are ready for that kind of time and that kind of effort to sit in?
Maybe for 2 to 3 days, if they manage to reach here, maybe for 2 to 3 days, but beyond 3-4 days, staying on the streets is not a joke.
But like DANIYAL said, they're not even coming from Punjab.
Punjab, of course, I don't see much mobilization from Punjab. What they are trying to do is that they are trying to mobilize their elected representatives, asking them to take their people to KP and from there march on to Islamabad. So, I mean, maybe from Punjab they can gather 2 to 3,000 people and another 6 to 7,000 from KP and then move towards Islamabad. In a country of 250 million people, 10,000 people creating chaos is a nuisance.
But it causes an
it is not-
inconvenience for
it is
you and
not
I.
changing. It is not
It causes
changing
an
that.
inconvenience for those that live in Islamabad.
Yes.
But that's all it does, really.
That's all that it does, and that's all that it did in the past as well. They did not get a single relief due to their march on Islamabad. The last march of Ali Amin Gandapur did not
Ji,
give them
Daniel.
any relief.
See, one thing that they are constantly, I don't know if they're realizing or not, they're ethnically further dividing the country. Why one province? Why one ethnicity? Why not the whole country if it's a national cause? So, like I said earlier, like we've discussed so many times earlier, this is a if they have got an agenda, it's to destabilize Pakistan, it's to ethnically divide Pakistan, it's to Pakistan should descend into chaos, and which they're working on. Like for instance, earlier when the Malaysian premier was here, they attacked the capital. When the Chinese vice premier was coming, they attacked the capital. So it's all part of some. If there's an agenda, it's this agenda. It's got nothing to do
It's
with.
about creating as much nuisance, as much noise, as much problem as to become relevant.
Absolutely. As far as the whole pressurizing the government is concerned, I personally feel that the law enforcement agencies and the government, they have now developed an immunity. It's like a vaccination that they have given it
But
so
don't
many
you
times.
think the people, let's talk about this, I mean, let's leave the enforcement agencies, let's leave the police and the forces out of it. Let's talk about people. Do you think their own people are not tired within the party? You don't think that they are tired of this futile protest strategy that is being thrown at them constantly and is not achieving anything really?
Most certainly they're tired, but like I said earlier, for the chief minister, like earlier the chief minister's sister accused former founder's sister accused the chief minister of not doing anything for his release. So the point is, considering that, to save his job and to make sure that he's able to see, minus Khan's blessings, he's nothing. So he had to keep his job secure. He's doing all this, and for that he's going to use state resources, state machinery, which he has used in the past.
But
like
you
earlier we
think
saw him, he was rewarding people of Rescue 1122 and other government employees for taking part in the protests and in attacking the capital. So this is obviously, when the chief minister himself is leading the protest, he's got a lot of resources working under him, and he's going to mobilize that, and nothing more than that.
And what's concerning, like you said, I think that's very relevant. I'll go to Fakhar Saab on this. Is that dividing the province like this? I think it's extremely important when you divide a province and you lead it against the federation, so to speak. It will have its own ramifications, right? I mean, for the way that the state functions, for the way that things have to, for all the provinces to come together as a cohesive unit under the federation. So that itself is a strategy that is really can lead to potential destruction, for everyone concerned.
MAHRUKH, you're right that we need unity for not only for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and with the federation, but all the province, Balochistan, Sindh, GB, Kashmir, and Punjab as well. But I think so. This is unfortunate. The PTI do that thing which is suits them. This is unfortunate. I think so. When Imran Khan Sahab was a prime minister, he did that, and after that, he is not prime minister right now. He is in jail, but his party is in a ruling party in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They are also doing that. I think so. They should not create a divide, but I will add one thing more, that the federal government should also play a positive role for all these things. They should also not create the divide between the province, not only the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Balochistan, and with every province. I think so. Chief Minister is the head of the province, and Prime Minister is the head of the country. I think so. They should sit and they should talk, and they should not create a divide. I think so. This time we need so many things. We are facing the security crisis. We are facing the economic crisis. We are facing the political instability, and all the world is, of course, it's monitoring it. Next year we are hosting the Champions Trophy in Pakistan. Of course, the people are giving the example of every incident which is going on in Pakistan. I think so. We should work on it. The Interior Ministry, the Prime Minister, as well as the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gandapur Saab, is also should play a role. But I think so. They are not interested in those things, especially in the unity. They want only one thing, and they want that we will try to release our beloved Imran Khan Saab. Of course, if he is
the
not.
question is, as a strategy, it's failing, right? As a strategy, why do they not realize that it's failing as a strategy? It's not having any effect. They're not being able to bring out the numbers, and the government doesn't really seem to be pushed anymore. I mean, that's what it is, right, at this time. Daniel, do you think that as far as like Fakhar Saab said, he's saying that the government also should perhaps engage them. Is it possible to do so, in your opinion?
Let me just add something to what you were saying. More than failing, I think now it's counterproductive. It's taking a reverse turn.
And it's also, like you said, counterproductive, because it's really, tiring their own supporters. It's really, leading to frustration within the party also.
Not just that, it's also the counter narrative against this party, which is that they're working on a foreign agenda. They're very much into the perceptions are larger than reality, and the perception that's being built, it's any logical sane mind can understand, like just by looking at the whole trajectory, this cannot be a coincidence that whenever something good is happening, like look at the inflation rate, it's all-time low in the past 3 years. Why now? And
things, like I said, things seem to be stable overall, and
exactly.
They're going to be.
So, and more than that, a few, like it's not even a month ago, they were part of the whole process as far as the constitutional amendment was concerned. So now, if there was a question on the legitimacy of this whole, this is something very unprecedented. Like throughout, it's like this whole the cases against him. So now, how can any sane mind think that they can pressurize the judiciary by bringing a few thousand people on the street? It's not going to work. So like I said earlier, either it's extreme naivety, they're very, very, very to the extent of insanity, or it's a foreign agenda, which is to destabilize Pakistan, and the elements are very strong, because what worse can you do to the country is than to ethnically try to divide it, which is already so ethnically divided. Now, even if you look at the downfall of other political parties in the past, the reason they became ethnic parties, this is exactly what's happening to PTI. Now their base of power is now KPK, not the rest of the country. And like I'm saying over and over again, as far as the Chief Minister is concerned, to keep his job in place, he does not have to deliver. He just somehow has to keep his leadership happy.
And that's what he's trying to do.
The biggest show that he puts up.
I want to move on a little bit and talk about the COS key statements at the Margala Dialogue 2024. ANIQ Sahib, he talked about, of course, the role of global peace and security. He also spoke about our neutral stance as far as Ukraine's conflict is concerned, and condemned the actions as far as Israel's conflict, Israel's assault of Gaza is concerned, the tyranny there. And he also particularly spoke about concerns over misinformation and its impact. When we talk about misinformation, again, it's also being used as a tool, and we've seen it being used as a tool by certain elements within the country. Do you think that this itself, and the way that of course the government has dealt with it, do you think that are we keeping it in check sufficiently, in your opinion, as a country?
Well, I think given the current social media environment all over the world, expecting state of Pakistan to be able to control it fully or efficiently, I think is asking for too much.
Okay.
We do not have that kind of capacity that we can control it. We have tried blocking a few platforms, blocking content and all that. But one of the downsides of the technology, you can say, is that for every technology there is a counter technology available. People have access to different tools to access those platforms. I am not a great fan of blocking any platform. I am not a great fan of blocking VPNs or anything. But the question remains that how do we counter misinformation, blatant lies, and
The way that we've
hate.
seen with the incident in Punjab that
Yeah.
we saw happen,
Yeah,
the way it
that-
was blown up, you know, it's I think beyond scary now.
Yeah, that is the biggest challenge. That how do you counter misinformation, blatant lies, because as they say that by the time truth finds its shoes, the lie has traveled half the world. So that is the problem right now. That we, even if we try to control that, that is not very efficient. But if we allow it, then what happens? So we are in a catch. So what we need to do is that we need to be more vigilant in terms of laws, in terms of implementation of laws, finding those people who spread those lies. I am not sure that whether we have adequately prosecuted those people who spread the Punjab College case, who initiated that.
So then it comes to the efficacy of laws, and it comes
of
again
laws
to
is more important, because they will find a way to overcome your firewalls and all these things.
So it has to be, there has to be a deterrence effect, there has to be a host of mechanisms in place.
And then you have to sort of launch a massive education and re-education campaign,
which is a long-term goal, really.
Which is a long-term goal, but
So
without that, I think
overnight.
short-term is not going to work very efficiently.
Before I go to Fakhar Sabji, Daniel.
Like I was agreeing with what ANIQ Saab said, it's very difficult confining or curtailing these elements. I think it's also, especially me coming from rural Pakistan, like even today in my village, the biggest source of information is Facebook or YouTube. Whatever the masses see there, they think it's the truth. So it's very important to educate them that everything that you see on Facebook is not backed by evidence, and this, for this, I think the local peace committees, which include our clergy, they need to be brought together to educate the masses that it's an age of propaganda, and media is the most powerful entity. It has the power to prove an innocent man guilty and a guilty man innocent, and everything you see on media is not true. Now this needs to be taught to the masses. Without this, you cannot see, these are individual incidents. You
But
cannot
Daniel,
stop them.
when you talk about, of course, they need to be taught to the masses. But then again, it is what, you know, what ANIQ Saab said. It's about education. It's about awareness. It's about the role that every pillar of society can play, and it's a long-term goal. Short-term is coming, you know, is laws and is deterrence, and is that short-term goal is what we need to focus on along with long-term. I'm not saying leave long-term, but I'm saying that's going to take time. And you know, we know that societies all over the world manage at least to deal with libel and slander. And we, unfortunately, perhaps are not doing that as much as we should be.
Well, yes, definitely you're right, we can do more, but yet again, unless and until the masses are told that you don't, like, it's like the story of the kid who cried wolf.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make sure, you need to cross check, you need to examine. Now unfortunately, we people are masses, they enjoy propaganda so much that, and see, the problem with lying is that when you start lying, after some time you start believing the lies. No?
So is it about the fact that you can get away with it? How much of it is about that? Let me go to Fakhar Saab. Fakhar Saab, if you've been following our discussion, how much of it is about the fact that people, you know, the culprits often believe that they can get away with this kind of libel, slander, or, you know, this kind of mudslinging that we are looking at?
Yeah, you're right, MAHRUKH. Actually, we have so many laws, cybercrime laws. We have amended that laws in 2016, 2019, 2021, and recently in 2024 as well. We have so many laws for that. We have so many organizations for that. But I think so. I will give an example of Afghanistan. Which I shouldn't give that example, but I'm sorry to say I will give that example. In Afghanistan, Twitter is not banned, but in Pakistan, from February 17 to right now, we have banned the Twitter. Why? Why because we have very weak narrative. We have counter agenda. It's very weak. But this is not none of my business and none of your business. Of course, the government have so many organizations. Why they are not working on that? In India, that Twitter is not banned. Why? There are 141.4 billion population are living there. In Pakistan, we are 240 million population, but we have banned because it's a security risk. I don't think so. It's a security risk. After the banning of Twitter in February 2024 and right now, how many attacks we have faced in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, in Waziristan, especially, and in Balochistan? If it is because of Twitter, if our security is on risk because of Twitter, we should ban all the social media platforms.
Have to do
If
a lot more. Doesn't it have to do a lot more with X and their own chain of command and their lack of cooperation with our government? They of course have many offices in India. They have a certain clout. One has to acknowledge that in the world at this time, and we are where we are with regard to that, and that is why a lot of the information and a lot of things our country, our neighbor across the border gets away with a lot that we don't. Isn't that true, ANIQ?
Yeah, that's true. In other countries, X has sort of cooperated with the government in curbing.
There are loads of cases in point.
Lots of cases, even in Turkey, in Russia as well. They agreed to put in filters to check misinformation and hate speech and all that. But unfortunately, we do not carry that kind of weight to force to be able to force them to accept our demands, and response time to our requests to X for removing this kind of content
and
sometimes is not responded to as efficiently as we would like.
As far as the bias nature of X is something, the allegations now you've seen in the US.
Yeah, it is becoming a very
controversial
right leaning, and also I mean it promotes right wing lies even
and
from
we've
US.
seen as far as Trump supporting of Trump is concerned,
yeah,
and
so
like Guardian, also publications like the Guardian,
they have removed their content
so
from
there is
from
X. The controversial nature of it is now, I think, being exposed in a manner that it probably hasn't been before.
Of course, X after Mr. Elon Musk taking it over has lost
changed
its value by about $35 billion. He bought it for $44 billion and it's now at $9 billion. Its net value, X's net value. So obviously there are concerns about such platforms, but again the question is that we do not want to be curbing the freedom of expression. This is the great debate even in the US, but we also cannot allow people to mislead the masses with misinformation, with lies, with slander, with hate.
Because it's not, Daniyal, it's not just stopping there for us as far as slander, and we've seen the kind of, I keep talking about the Punjab incident because the scale of it was alarming for the government, for everyone who saw it. The way that it was orchestrated, the way that it happened, the way the misinformation, and even now, the way that it is made to look.
But like ANIQ Sahab was saying, I still stand by my point. See, I agree with you, there should be stricter laws, there should be implementation of those laws, there should be punishment, those punishments should be exemplary. But having said that, there's still, our law enforcement agencies, their workload is already so overstretched. It's the masses that need to be told that please stop running after something you hear don't start running after it without cross-checking it or believing it. The way these kids, they started protesting and whatnot, and there was nothing. So it needs to be.
And these were also educated kids.
What social media has taught us, I think, is that most of the societies are basically herd mentality. There is not many people apply agency and rational approach to the information they receive. The phenomenon of TikTok, for example, is a perfect example. I mean, social media is here to stay. How long it will take for the societies to actually evolve and
become
adjust
more
with
adept
it.
and become more adept also. I know that it's not new, but relatively, if speaking,
it's not new. I mean,
to become adept in dealing with these technologies.
MAHRUKH, is that each time when mode of communication has changed, societies had to change with it. the society before the radio was different, after the radio was different. Society before the TV was different and after TV was different. Similarly, society before the social media was different and it is changing. Perhaps our values will be changing, our
maybe, and
social
the way
behaviors will be
it.
changing.
And are putting, I mean,
that's a long debate though. But
I mean, yeah, but you know, you look at what Australia is proposing. It's saying that, you know, before 16 ban social media
for
so,
kids.
You know, we're looking at a lot of things that perhaps, and I hope that the world will follow suit, because, you know, we are being exposed to a lot of wrong information, the children, and, you know, the danger of it, and all of that is right before us. So like you said, that perhaps it will take time for societies to evolve and come to that point where we can manage this better.
Yes.
And we can filter this better.
Filter this better, and the society which is receiving this information can process it better.
Right, fair enough. Thank you so much for being with us. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you for joining us. FAKHAR YOUSAFZAI Saab, thank you for being with us. ANIQ ZAFAR Saab, thank you for joining us. DANIYAL SHEIKH, thank you for being with us today. We talked about polarization and of course the dangers of misinformation and how it's being used all over is not necessarily for a good cause and to create more strife and to create more unrest in societies. And let's hope that we can work towards perhaps dealing with this, filtering it, processing it better, and dealing with it better. And let's hope that we move towards a more productive style of politics, where protest for the sake of protest is not the solution and is not really going to be an achievable for any political party. And perhaps that school of thought can sink in, one hopes, sooner than later. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.